Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the 5 Minute English Practice. I'm Jessica, and I'm really happy you're here with me today. If you're listening to this episode, maybe you're trying to improve your English. Or maybe you feel frustrated because you understand grammar, you know vocabulary. But when native speakers talk, everything suddenly sounds too fast or unclear. If that sounds like you, you're definitely not alone. Today, I want to talk about how to improve your English listening skills. Not in a textbook way, and not with complicated methods. I want to share simple, realistic ideas that actually work in real life, especially if you feel stuck or overwhelmed. First, I want to say something very important. If listening feels hard for you, it does not mean you're bad at English. Listening is usually the hardest skill, even for people who have studied English for many years. The problem is not your intelligence. Most of the time, the problem is how you practice. Many learners think listening means sitting down, pressing play, and trying to understand everything. When they don't understand, they feel frustrated and give up. But listening is not about understanding every word. It's about understanding meaning. Let me explain that more clearly. When native speakers talk, they don't speak word by word like in textbooks. They connect sounds, they reduce words, and they speak with emotion. So if you're waiting to hear every clear word, you'll always feel lost. Instead of listening for words, you need to start listening for ideas. One of the biggest mistakes learners make is trying to translate everything into their own language while listening. This slows your brain down. English keeps moving, but your brain is stuck translating one sentence. By the time you finish translating, the speaker is already on the next idea. So my first tip is this. Stop translating in your head. It will feel uncomfortable at first, but it's necessary. Try to understand the general message, not every detail. Another important thing is choosing the right listening materials. Many learners listen to content that is too difficult for their level. They watch movies without subtitles, fast YouTube videos, or news programs with complex language. This can be useful later, but not at the beginning. If your level is B1, you should listen to content that feels a little challenging but still understandable. If you understand about 60 to 70%, that's perfect. If you understand almost nothing, it's too hard. If you understand everything, it's too easy. Podcasts, slow interviews, daily conversations, and short stories are great for this. And it's even better if you listen to the same content many times. This brings me to another very important point: repetition. Many learners think they need new content every day, but repetition is one of the most powerful tools for listening. When you listen to the same audio again, your brain feels safer. The second time, you notice more words. The third time, you understand ideas more clearly. And slowly, listening becomes easier. You don't need hours every day. Even 10 to 15 minutes of focused listening is enough if you do it consistently. Another thing I want to talk about is pronunciation. Listening and pronunciation are connected. If you can't hear a sound, it's often because you don't know how to say it. For example, many learners learn words by reading, not by hearing them. So when native speakers say those words, they sound completely different. That's why it's very important to learn how words sound, not just how they look. A simple way to do this is shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a sentence and repeating it out loud, trying to copy the rhythm and pronunciation. You don't need to be perfect. Just try. This helps your ears and your mouth work together. Now let's talk about accents. Many learners worry about accents. They think they can't understand English because of different accents. but accents are a part of real English. You don't need to understand every accent perfectly. You just need exposure. Start with one main accent like American or British and get comfortable with it. Later, you can slowly listen to other accents. Don't pressure yourself to understand everything immediately. Another very important thing is mindset. If you listen with fear, your brain closes. If you listen with curiosity, your brain opens. Instead of thinking, I must understand this, try thinking, let me see how much I can understand. Listening is not a test. It's a skill you build slowly. I also want to talk about subtitles because many people ask about them. Subtitles can be helpful, but you need to use them correctly. If you always read subtitles, you're practicing reading, not listening. A better way is this. First, listen without subtitles. Try to catch the main idea. Then, listen again with subtitles to check your understanding. Finally, listen one more time without subtitles. This method trains your ears and builds confidence. Another tip is to listen to English every day, even passively. You don't always need to sit and focus. You can listen while walking, cooking, or cleaning. Your brain still learns sounds and rhythm, even when you're not fully focused. But remember, passive listening should not replace active listening. Both are important. Active listening means sitting down, paying attention, and really trying to understand. Passive listening helps your brain get used to the language. Now I want to talk about patience. Improving listening takes time. There will be days when you feel like you're not improving at all. That's normal. Progress in listening is slow and invisible. But one day, you'll suddenly realize you understand more than before. Trust the process. Finally, I want to remind you of something very important. You don't need to sound perfect. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to keep listening. Every minute you spend listening to English is helping you, even when it doesn't feel like it. If you're feeling frustrated right now, that means you care. And if you care, you're already on the right path. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you found it helpful, feel free to follow the podcast or share it with someone who's also learning English. Keep going, be patient with yourself, and I'll talk to you again very soon.